So I'm going to try something new here and attempt to have one of these out every Monday, and I'm going to highlight what I think are the most interesting releases for that week and give you some insight on whether I think they're worth getting or not. And first up is John Carpenter's Vampires on 4K from Shout Factory. And this was delayed officially until the 11th. It was originally coming in January, but some copies did go out, and Capsaholic does have some screenshots of it. I'll put the link in the description. And this looks to me like it's definitely going to be a big upgrade over the previous Shout Factory release, which was just a repress of an older Blu-ray. You can see the Blu-ray has some contrast issues with blown highlights, so that's a telltale sign of an older master. And you can see there's way more detail in the full shots. And this is typically what you can expect from a Sony 4K restoration, so this is looking really good. Obviously the impact that HDR will have is still a question mark, but since the tone map screenshots here look a bit brighter, I think this will have great contrast, and it'll look a little more punchy than how it looks here. But I'm liking it so far, so I would say go ahead and pick this one up if you're interested in the 4K. You can wait for more reviews, but I don't think there's anything that's going to change your mind, especially with Sony's track record with what they've licensed recently to other boutique labels. And Amazon's got it at a pretty good price for a new boutique release. And with how good this looks, I would hope that the Ghost of Mars got the same treatment. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see on that one, but I would expect the same quality given that it's also from Sony. And I've seen a lot of vitriol about this movie since it was announced on 4K, but the only thing I can remember about it was when some guy cuts his fingers off. Like literally, that's all I can remember. And you know, it's probably really bad, but with all the crap that comes out these days, sometimes I'll go back and watch some of this stuff from the early 2000s, and I'm like, this really isn't that bad, you know? But I wanted to highlight this one anyway because it is a Sony restoration. So I'm expecting great picture quality, but just in case, you might want to hold off until some reviews come out. Next up is Pretty in Pink on 4K. I know a lot of people despise these 4K upgrades after a recently remastered Blu-ray, but you know, even though it doesn't feel like it, it's actually been 5 years since that Paramount Presents release came out. We'll have to wait and see how well this 4K sells overall, but whether you're upgrading from the last release or from the older one, I like this at the current price point. It's right in that sweet spot for a new 4K release, so if you're interested in this and don't want to wait for the next sale, I'd go ahead and get it. And lastly, I've got The Nice Guys on 4K from Warner Brothers. The review's already up for this over at Blu-ray.com, and it looks like there's some shenanigans going on, but it seems that the reviewer wants to do damage control and side with the studio, which is odd because that same reviewer regularly downgrades 4K releases over the dumbest shit. Anyway, according to the review, this does not have the advertised Dolby Atmos soundtrack, and the reviewer is giving it a pass because it's what was originally intended. For f***'s sake, originally intended by who? I mean, they literally have Dolby Atmos printed twice on the back of the case. Do you know what the original intent was? To get you to buy this because it has Dolby Atmos. And to add even more insult, the upcoming UK release from Second Sight is going to have the Dolby Atmos soundtrack that was promised here. And I would think this could be corrected if everybody pushed hard enough because this is an MOD release. But hey, you know, it doesn't have some AI goblin face in the background, so we're not going to panic about it. Fucking dumb assholes. So I'm kind of on the fence recommending this one. I remember I picked up the Blu-ray for this for like $6 on Black Friday, not too long after it came out, and I thought that was worth every penny. But the pricing on the Blu-ray's gone up now, so if you're interested in getting a physical copy, the Warner Brothers 4K is probably still the best way to go, and the Second Sight release will be at a boutique price. But if you really want Atmos, it looks like you're going to have to pay extra for it, unfortunately. Alright, that's all I got for this one. Let me know in the comments if you thought this was helpful, and if you want to support the channel, all of these are linked in the description.